Jubilee's cheaters.
The X-Men have encountered a wide variety of villains, but none of them have been as unique and bizarre as Mojo, the leader of an alien race. The character was created as an absurdist parody of network executives, and he's shown as the ruler of the Mojoverse, a dimension where all creatures are addicted to his television programs. He often subjects the X-Men to his twisted games, and makes them forcibly star in his TV endeavors for higher ratings. Although there is a comical touch to this antagonist, he's way more powerful than you would think. Recently, Mojo has featured in the 4th episode of the ongoing animated series, X-Men 97, and in this video, we'll dive deep into the anatomical details of this character. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
No! No!
Everything you need to know about his alien race. Why are they seemingly insane? One thing that you'll notice whenever you look at Mojo is his lack of mental stability, and that's because he's actually insane. This condition affected his entire race, when waves of energy from another space-time continuum affected them all. Mojo and his species were not a highly evolved alien race, and they couldn't even stand upright because of their lack of spine. However, it all changed when a brilliant scientist among them, named Arise, developed exoskeletons, which brought about a technological revolution. Now many members of the species use these exoskeletons, but there were many others who refused to oblige, and called themselves the spineless ones. But even the ones without the exoskeleton structure used motorized platforms that helped in their transportation. They still lacked perfect mobility and demanded a race of slaves specially crafted for them to do all their tasks. Once again, the scientist named Arise was summoned for the purpose, and even though he created these slaves, he secretly planted seeds of dissent in their genetic makeup, so they would eventually rise against their masters. The spineless ones then demanded Arise create deadly weapons for them, but this is where the scientist drew the line. Arise was one of the rare ones who wasn't affected by the energy wave that caused some kind of insanity among them all. He refused to be part of this chaos and mayhem, and as a result, he was banished from the kingdom. How did Mojo become the leader of the spineless ones? The power structure of this society depended heavily on the television industry, and everyone was addicted to these programs. Mojo started rising in power after he started to control the TV industry, and he also gained prominence because of his growing slave trade. Soon, he named their world after himself, and the dimension started to be known as the Mojoverse. He had a loyal following, and went on to become the ruler of the denizens of this bizarre world. He was served by a loyal android named Major Domo, and its assistant, a young girl named Minor Domo.
Don't touch that dial!
What does Mojo look like? Physical appearance explored. The original physical appearance of Mojo and his species is slightly different from what we see in most versions. Since he doesn't have a spine, he's nothing but a giant lump of immobile fat without his mobility platform that works like a massive metal spider, controlled by him to move around. He's almost twice the size of an average human, and his massive size also makes him quite powerful. He's shown enough physical strength to take down a group of humans without any trouble. However, Mojo is extremely obese, which is often a subject of ridicule among his enemies. Even during his appearance in X-Men 97, Jubilee makes a snarky, sarcastic remark about his weight. The color of his skin is yellowish, and his glowing eyes have an evil look. Mojo has sharp fangs and sharp claw-like nails on his hands, but he doesn't have the proper muscle tone because of his lack of physical exercise. He has wires that connect his head to the platform that he uses to move around, and there are wires that hold his eyelids open so that he doesn't have to blink and miss a single moment. How do Mojo's teleportation skills work? Mojo looks like he has some serious obesity problems, and he does because of a lack of physical activity restricted by his size. However, his physical immobility does not restrict him from implementing his teleportation skills. One time, when his show ratings started to falter, Mojo wrought havoc in New York City by the press of a button on his fancy device. Object appeared at will, and he even scattered the X-Men like pieces of a puzzle. His teleportation powers are so strong that he even attempted to turn New York City into part of his Mojo world from another dimension. However, the likes of Magneto triggered a magnetic storm that disrupted his network and ruined his plans. This didn't stop his dimension-hopping teleportation skills, and even in the 4th episode of X-Men 97, we can see Mojo using his teleportation abilities to cause trouble for Jubilee and Sunspot. He traps them in the virtual world, and he poses several challenges for them for higher ratings and viewership.
And we can get them cheap! I'm making money just standing here!
Has Mojo shifted to video games from television? We've already made it pretty clear that Mojo functions as an undisputed ruler based on the popularity of his TV programs. His minions are madly addicted to these programs, and they always need a thrill factor to keep things going. Previously, we've seen Mojo orchestrating the events for various programs on TV that would amuse his people, but his appearance in the show X-Men '97 offers a slightly different take. He seems to have made the switch from the world of television to video games, and he claims that it's a strategic move, as he now wishes to experience the next evolution of mind-numbing media. He traps Jubilee and Roberto, aka Sunspot, inside a game, where they must go through various levels that are made up of their own memories. However, even if the change to video games is permanent, it's still more like a TV program, only because his people cannot play the game, and they'll simply watch the gameplay, just like they watched the shows previously.
I'm ruined! Ratings are off.
What enables Mojo to fly and move around swiftly, even though he doesn't have a spine? It's tough to imagine an invertebrate humanoid creature moving around quickly and effectively, but Mojo proves that appearances can be deceptive. He uses a multi-legged platform, which is also armed with several particle beam weapons. This platform has large appendages that can be used as an arm or a slicing weapon with two smaller arms. During his appearance in a couple of episodes in X-Men the Animated Series, Mojo could shoot laser beams from this appendage on his platform. This has almost become like an exoskeleton for him, and he can fly around when required, and we have seen him airborne on a few occasions.
Long shot!
How do his powerful force bolts work? Mojo is not some helpless villain who's simply powered by his minions. He has the ability to put up a fight all by himself, and he's quite effective in taking down those whom you would think would be way more powerful. His exoskeleton appendage works almost like a scorpion, with the tail capable of shooting powerful force bolts. These energy blasts can kill weaker enemies and immobilize the stronger ones, and there are some versions of Mojo where he shoots out these force bolts from his fingertips. He has zapped the X-Men multiple times, and they're familiar with the lethal nature of his energy shots. Does Mojo have magical powers? Can he cause disasters on Earth? It has been revealed in many story arcs that Mojo's insane powers are not just powered by advanced technology. Many of his abilities are derived from magic, and he has a powerful energy blast which works wonders. It is believed that his magical powers are enhanced by the devotion and loyalty of his followers, which means that his TV program ratings must always be high for him to remain powerful. Aside from his magical powers, Mojo has the ability to create an anti-life field, and this makes his touch act like the touch of death. Plants wither, humans age, and life forms can even die because of his cursed touch. During one of his long missions on Earth, Dr. Strange had inferred that if Earth was exposed to his evils for a long period of time, it would lead to massive natural disasters and calamities.
Hey, hunters! I want to see some serious carnage or you guys are going home.
Can Mojo control the minds of other people? We started off this video by telling you about how this twisted and maniacal villain is way more powerful than you would think, and this is yet another example of his amazing abilities. Mojo can control the minds of individuals if the circumstances are right. There has been a time when he manipulated and controlled the mind of Rachel Summers, and made her function as his puppet. Rachel finally managed to break free, but Mojo's mind control adventures didn't stop there. He later created controllable X-Men replicas for his TV show, and he initially controlled their minds and actions. One of the biggest examples of his mind controlling and manipulation skills can be seen with the mutant named Longshot. He served as Mojo's ally because he had been brainwashed, and there have been many storylines where he fought against the alien media mogul as well. Mojo almost mind controls the population of the Mojoverse, and he uses the means of his addictive TV programs for this purpose. The higher TRP keeps the population engaged, and they obey Mojo's orders and respect his supremacy during this time. Is there a human version of Mojo? We are mostly used to seeing a creepy alien appearance when it comes to Mojo, but there's a separate Marvel continuity where he appears as a human. You can find it in the series Ultimate X-Men, and in this story arc, Mojo is not an alien, but a normal human named Mojo Adams. He's still obese though, and even as a human, he works as a TV producer. This human version of Mojo is always well dressed, and he holds a position of power in the nation of Genosha. He conducts a twisted reality show, where humans hunt a mutant fugitive named Longshot on an island, and this show is called Hunt for Justice. He may have been human, but he was still the same evil soul that we've always known him to be.
All this chaos, all this destruction, and not a single camera.
How is Mojo immune to Rogue's touch? Rogue is an extremely powerful mutant who can absorb powers, memories, and even personality traits by physically touching an individual. There are very few individuals who can withstand the touch of Rogue, with Magneto being one of them. There have been instances where it has been revealed that even Mojo is not affected by her touch. This is probably because he comes from another dimension altogether, and the physical body of Mojo doesn't work like humans. We've seen that usually characters who are enabled by advanced technology or special magical abilities can repel the absorption powers of Rogue, and Mojo has both, which might make him immune to this touch. An interesting example has been given in the comics, where it's said that Rogue touching Mojo to absorb his powers is like sucking on a straw of unending corruption and evil, and Rogue eventually has to break it off, because there's no end to it.
I, Mojo, programmer to the galaxy, present our contestants tonight.
Is Mojo immortal? How can Mojo be killed? Although Mojo has appeared in quite a few X-Men story arcs so far, he's yet to be killed. However, that doesn't mean he's immortal, and nothing about him suggests such miraculous powers where he cannot die. The X-Men have defeated him time and again, and even in his most recent appearance in X-Men 97, he's defeated by the combined force of Jubilee and her virtual counterpart, created by Mojo himself, for the test run of the game. One of the easiest ways to defeat Mojo is to hamper his TV ratings by disrupting the program. This can be done in multiple ways, but one of the most commonly followed tactics is to go against his plan of action. The magnetic storm worked wonders on one occasion, and physically, Mojo has been defeated by several X-Men members who are more powerful. One very effective way to kill him can be a two-step process, where his mobility platform is destroyed and his ratings are shattered. Without the loyal following of his race, Mojo would be back to the primitive state of the spineless ones before their great scientist intervened, and it would be extremely easy to finish him off in that state.
Names are a fortune. Dazzler had a gig, don't ask. So you're my gamer girl!
Can Mojo reproduce? Well, he does come from a species or an alien race that hasn't moved into extinction. Given that members of his alien race are not immortal, and we have seen Mojo's men being destroyed in fights with the X-Men before, clearly the species can reproduce. There has been no clear account of how they reproduce, and neither have we been introduced to Mojo's children or partner at any point. That being said, as the ruler of his bizarre universe, surely he can and will reproduce at some point to keep the legacy of his rule going. The technological advancement and dependency among Mojo and his people have gone up to extreme levels, and we wouldn't be surprised if their reproductive method is somewhat machine-helped, or even machine-made. Surely we cannot imagine these obese, maniacal creatures doing the nasty and reproducing like normal animals and mammals. Don't forget to tell us in the comments below what your thoughts are on this strange interdimensional alien threat, and also let us know which aspects of his anatomy have amused you the most. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks everyone!